my Jamaicans who are curious about what may I do in Africa, how may I even reach here, what has it been like for me living here. A lot of people get into this to say they have a lot of different stereotypes and presuppositions about both sides really, what a Jamaican is like and what an African is like.
We have Maserati, we have Lamborghini, we have Ferrari.
The amount of cars people drive in Nigeria, I don't even think people here can afford it.
I think for South Africa specifically, it's a very large population of underprivileged people. Not many people have jobs. That means that a lot of people perhaps live like that.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
there's a very large percentage of people that live in South Africa that live very well.
We have houses. Some of them are better made than here in Canada.
Like running water.
Yeah,
they
like.
There's electricity.
I mean, there's still some huts, but not all of the huts.
You know that one kid with the big belly and the fly that never grows up? It's been the same commercial for 15 years.
If I just say what my experience has been like, look, it hasn't been roses. I mean, I feel like, say, nobody experienced anywhere is roses. But at the same time, it also hasn't been as bad as what people think being in Africa is.
Yeah.
What is it like as a Jamaican living in Africa or Zimbabwe to be specific? If this is your first time watching our channel, please go ahead and click the button and subscribe. Check out our other videos and stay tuned while I'll answer this question that I've answered so many times before. So this video is really for my Jamaicans who are curious about what may I do in Africa, how may I even reach here and how life is over here. So forgive me for all our other viewers everywhere else. Mega dabbling at some patois because I really want to talk to the Jamaicans who are interested, especially after our recent interview.
What is it like being married to a Jamaican? Hi, I'm Xavier Murphy, the founder of Jamaicans.com, and today I talked to Tony from Zimbabwe and Debra from Jamaica about their marriage journey.
I've actually got a lot of feedback from people who are pretty curious about how we managed to make it work. I saw different comments, so I'm going to use this opportunity to just reason we don't know. Let me give you a bit of background for those who hadn't seen this before. I was born and raised in Jamaica, Portland, Port Antonio. Went to school there. Specifically, I went to Hill Prep. Then I went to a church private school for a while. That was Portland High. Then from there, I moved to Titchfield High, went there, did well. I was actually the deputy head girl, by the way, for that school. Then I went to UE, did physiotherapy, my physio degree there. Then from UE, moved to China. A lot of people ask why China. Well, the biggest reason why most of we go is we have the ambition to become doctors, and it's quite competitive back home, plus expensive. So China, the tuition was far more affordable than back home. There are a lot more medical schools in China to choose from. So, you kind of just select something that's affordable, but at the same time maintains quality. That is super important, all right? because there's so many, the quality varies. So I went to China Medical University, Zhongguo Ikadashue in Chinese, which is one of the top medical schools in China. While I was there, I met Tony. We met because of church. I was looking for church, and what people say, if you go to China, you can't go with the Bible, and you can't really worship at church, and not entirely true, okay? There are designated places of worship that are approved by the government that you can freely go and worship. So anyway, ended up getting connected to Tony. We were in a friend group for a long time. Not a long time, actually. It was a few months. Then eventually, our friendship became more of a close friendship than everybody else, to a point where even the guys in the group, they were like, guys, don't do this, please, because it could disrupt the dynamic of the group. Anyway, God had it that, we end up liking each other beyond friendship. Just wanted to get more in depth about what my experience here has been like. No, I feel like, number one, living in China prepared me, all right? As a Jamaican, you have your own, experiences and perspective on life when you live at Jamaica. Then when you have to live outside of Jamaica, that open your mind to a lot of things. So China, I had to learn a new language, right? A new way of doing things, learn and respect other people's culture. And China is a communist country, so there's not like you do what you want. You really have to conform to them rules and regulations. So essentially for me, that was training ground on how to really appreciate other people's cultures and really impose myself so much, while yes, maintaining my individuality and my identity, of course, but still respecting the environment that I'm in. So by the time I came to Zimbabwe for my first visit, which was while we were dating, right? Because me have to come see the place. He even insisted on that, like, what is it like? Because my only experience of Africa was a miss on TV. So of course, your girl, I go come because you're not going to just marry and go find out after you reach, right? So I visited. When we visit, I was actually surprised. Like the moment I land at the airport and I drive on the road, I'm like, okay, place look normal. Forgive me ignorance, all right? Forgive me ignorance. One thing that stood out to me the most initially was the place organized. Like if you step off at the airport, the plane in Jamaica, and you look at, or unless say in a New Kingston or urban Jamaica, right? The way we organize with buildings, especially in residential areas, kind of haphazard. Here in Zim, things very organized. I found it to be very nicely laid out. So I found that surprising. That was the first thing. Anyway, my visits were mostly me getting to familiarize with the language and the food and the expectations, the events, the funerals, so on. One key thing, again, that I also had to make sure of was I'm a doctor, and I used to actually come and do what they call attachments or electives in the hospital to kind of see how I would fit in or cope. But to be honest, I don't know if that was very, very helpful in terms of the actual reality that I'd have to face once I move here, because where you realize one thing is that things change. What it might be when you visit 1 year, 5 years later, it's a whole different scenario. So much like Jamaica, there are different struggles and issues where you have to deal with and so on. So I can't lie, nothing could have prepared me for what I ended up having to adapt to, especially professionally over here. But I'm the type of person who believe in blooming wherever I'm planted and contributing, thinking about how I can contribute to something rather than just about what I can get. And I remain strong on that. So professionally, that's still something I navigate and figure out how to be able to be my best and live according to my calling and purpose in that regard. Next thing, a lot of people ask, why you move here instead of back home? I addressed this in a lot of other videos before, but if you're new here, I'm gonna just answer again. At the time, him did done with school, me never done with school, so it only makes sense to go which part the person who done with school live. No, right. At this point, I've been done with school for about 4 years now, so the dynamic is changing, and we haven't closed the doors on other options, even Jamaica. In fact, for me, I want to maintain a life in both. I just can't afford it yet. But ultimately, more if I have a life here and a life in Jamaica, and contributing to both countries. Big dreams, I know, but I gotta keep working towards that. And I want my child to have a very strong identity and to have a strong foothold in both cultures. So working on that. Right, to the nitty-gritty. Being here is actually not that difficult in terms of people-to-people interactions, honestly. One of the biggest contributing factors is nobody can immediately tell, say, me a foreigner, right? Me look the same. And especially after I've learned the language, for the most part, me can go unidentified up until a certain point. When you start get deep into the conversation, me get lost. But initially, greetings, if I greet somebody or I just buy something at the supermarket or wherever, the market, I can carry on a conversation in Shona. And so, you feel at home basically. And the people here are not aggressive or unwelcoming or nothing like that. They have a very welcoming, warm culture, very unconfrontational, unlike Jamaicans. Most Jamaicans confrontational and assertive. That's something I've also had to get used to. But yeah, if I have to say what my experience has been like, look, it hasn't been roses. I mean, I feel like, say, nobody experienced anywhere is roses. But at the same time, it also hasn't been as bad as a whole heap of people think being in Africa is, right? And we think we try to expose that as much as possible on the channel. So what I'm wanting to do is go and explore all the videos I upload, with Tony upload on this channel. It kind of gives you a perspective of all the things you can do here, what it's been like for me living here so far. And yeah, maybe you can just have more of a view of what it's like, what it's been like for me living here. So another thing is, I guess if we want to talk about negatives, one thing I didn't really like was, when you come here, because you look the same, people expect you to right away know their language. And I used to get a lot of cold shoulders from people. Maybe they never know I'm not a Zimbabwean at the time because I look the same. By the way, can somebody tell me what a Jamaican look like? Because a lot of people say, oh, you don't look like a Jamaican, you look just like we. Okay, what Jamaican look like? Like Islam, Buju, and whatever. I mean, I'm fairly dark-skinned too. I mean, I'm not as dark as Buju, but I mean, all Jamaicans not black. We come in different shades. Of course, now I lock my ear, but at the time, I never have these twists, There's no specific look to Jamaicans, and I think that needs to be addressed. We don't have no specific look. We have a whole shade galore, and so we have they mix with this, mix with that. Some people don't mix with nothing, but they still just have a different shade, some dark, some light, some whatever. So there's no specific look for a Jamaican, okay? And I guess the other thing is, when I open my mouth to talk, I'm obviously not going to talk to them like this in a patois, right? So I talk English because I generally believe in people communicating. Like, one of the worst things is when, so I've met Jamaicans who talk to other people in a patois and they not really understand or hear very clearly, and the other person really understand why that happen. Also, I don't like when somebody knows say, may not understand the language, but still talk to me. To me, it almost feels like a disrespectful way of communicating. So to be respectful, I either try to use the channel I know, and if I can't say it, I can speak in a proper English. I not talk in a patois, unless somebody asks me, or unless I'm convinced that they can't understand. Like my husband can understand me, so sometimes I do that. My son can understand some things, so sometimes I do that. Some people into the Jamaican culture like that, they can understand, and they actually quite enjoy hearing me talking about it. But generally speaking, especially in a professional space, I speak in English, like I do with most videos, because our audience is global. And so that, in and of itself, means people are going to assume, say, I'm not a Jamaican, and so they will just talk to you in another language. And I found that very hard to navigate initially, especially when I know none. Now I know a bit more, so it's been easier. So yeah, I think my biggest challenges have been the whole language thing, which I've overcome mostly now, and perhaps just the reality of the economy being a bit more tougher here than back home. What keeps me solid mentally is, as I've said before, as much as possible, think about how you can contribute to something, and how you can build something, and how you can be a part of improving something if you can. If you're unable to, then it's fine. You can always choose you. So yeah, I hope to someday contribute to where I'm at and bloom where I'm at, and even if I live your time, better myself, whatever my goal is to see, to help build my people. Jamaica is my people, and Africa is still my people. So that is the vision. with whatever struggles and difficulties it comes. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna pretend to be a martyr. It is very tough or hard, but ultimately, the goal is to contribute to the building of the continent, and we're not gonna stop. We're not gonna left that. Whatever route or way or whatever we get to it, that's the ultimate goal, right? So yeah, so that's why your girl is here. I welcome you guys over. You're not afraid if you go even think to visit now, you know, say you have Jamaicans over here we can link up with. There's not, and me not the only person over here. There are a number of Jamaicans here. We have 2 Jamaican restaurants. So anybody think about any type of holiday where you want to come pan over here, please do. There's lots to do. We're showing you a lot in other videos, and we'd be happy to give you tips, right? But come on to the continent and open your mind, you know, open your mind to what was not told to you and to what you never see.